So my father bought this property in 1954, and it was half of the size of the building now. It was just a cinder block building, but in 1954 there were no banks on the island. So if you wanted to cash a check, you brought it here. If you wanted a small loan, you came here. You could run a line of credit between paydays. We kept books and certain family names from the books. And so if you needed a few groceries, you could come by and just get them and leave and pay at the end of the month. My father also did everybody's income taxes here. He had a small desk with a typewriter, and he had at least 3 years of college at Savannah State College. He majored in business management. He was always wanted to be a big-time businessman, but he had a small property. He was very proud that he had a business. And we were proud that our father had a business on Hilton Head. So when this building was built, it was one of the first buildings on the island that had electricity. He also was one of the first to have a refrigeration. And it was a regular refrigerator out of a house. Where he kept meats and eggs and milk and that type of thing. It was the only place on the island that you could get things like that because there was no refrigeration on it. So here again at this time, Stony, this area we call Stony from Spanish World Road to the bridge. It's called Stony Plantation, named after Captain Jack Stoney, who was a pirate in the waters of Hilton Head back in the day. This was called downtown Hilton Head. Every other place on the island were just little farmsteads. People still rode horses. I remember Dan Dreesen, who played for the Cincinnati Reds, All-Star, used to ride his horse. His mother lived back down in the woods. And he used to ride his horse up to the store and leave it out in the yard, come in and get a few things and then go back. This is how rural things was just a few years ago. And this was just in 1960 as traffic began to pick up going down to 78 towards Savannah. For years and years, little stores like this was the staple of the communities. Short of going to Savannah or Bluffton or Beaufort, you couldn't get these type of things done like cashing a check or borrowing some money, getting some credit line. I would go as far as to say this is the oldest continuous operating business on Hilton Head Island. I bet you couldn't find another business that's been open since 1954. They're still open today. Even though we're just renting it out, it still operates as a business. It's always operated as a business continuum since 1954. With my generation dying out, we'll be the last to remember those days when this little building here was a big deal. It was a real, it had electricity. Wow. You can't relate to that unless you remember the island before there was electricity. How big a deal that was.